Skinny spazoid. Custody battles are infamously awkward and humiliating, especially in American culture. I could not possibly know about every painful and time-consuming experience that has happened in the world. Instead, I found some articles that expose how difficult, off-the-wall, and soul-crushing custody battles are. And before I start the list, I'd just like to say that I found a lot of information based around celebrities, and so because of that, 4 of the entries on my list are from celebrities. It's not because I just love them more than normal people, it's because that's just the information that I could find. Number 10, Alex Jones and Kelly Jones. This was said to be a wild display from both parties and shows how manipulative two people who were formerly partners can become toward one another. On the stand, Jones was questioned about his alcohol use and his cheating, which he admitted to, but stated that the harm done by them was exaggerated. Jones had to explain a statement he made before where he said he couldn't remember the name of teachers that his kid had because he had a big bowl of chili for lunch. No, I'm not making that up. And then clarified later that he only had 2 breakfast tacos that day, and so he wouldn't have any memory problems. He of course explained in court, like he does on the show, that the media takes what he says and blows it out of proportion, and also that all the political stances that he makes on the show are real. Number 9, Davis Jackson and Anonymous Mother. This one comes from an article by the National Post which talks about this child who is scared of their mother's anger and basically tells about how she manipulates her ex and her kid with these crazy emotional outbursts. What really got to me was that the father was a cop that makes $100,000 a year, but had to pay $500,000 for lawyers during this custody battle. He won custody and his wife makes conjugal visits. Number 8, Alec Baldwin and Kim Basinger. Considered one of Hollywood's power couples at one time, the couple grew apart and started to divorce. Baldwin left an infamous phone call to his daughter that was heard by many people because he's a celebrity, showing how out of control and frustrated people can be and how they can show it to others in the process. Dwayne Wade and Siobhan Hunches. Originally high school sweethearts, these two had a custody battle that led to this picture. The mother of the children was visibly broken by this custody battle and eventually gained regular parenting time every other weekend along with days like Mother's Day. Number 6, Kelly Rutherford and Daniel Giersch. Rutherford in California had her children deported to Germany as that was the nationality of her husband Giersch. This one is very brutal as Rutherford nearly went broke paying for travel expenses to see her children. She has gotten support for this whole process, but there is only so much that can be done when your children live in Europe. You can only be so much a part of their lives. Number 5, Victoria Azarenka and Billy McKeague. Runner-up to Serena Williams, Victoria Azarenka was unable to compete in the US Open because of a custody battle over her infant son, Leo. This is really illuminating to how painfully long things can be in these situations and how much it takes a toll on the lives of those involved. Number 4. Maggie Rhee Carn and Kenneth Carn. Maggie Rhee Carn sued the Manhattan court for $10 million over delays in a 3-year custody battle. 3 whole entire years. It's a considerable amount of time for the parents involved and of the child's childhood. Number 3. Parents of Bobby. This was from an article I found on a website, Divorce Club, on a child, Bobby. The article is just about how the custody battle affected her life, and it says Bobby was sitting through a custody battle that drawed out. Overall, it lasted 10 years, and she recounts in the article how it was clear that her parents hated each other and that she did not know which one to trust, as it seemed that both of them may have been lying throughout the entire process. It's important to note that the person who suffers the most throughout these custody battles is often the child, and this was a clear example of that. Number 2, David Goldman and Bruna Bianchi. This was a highly publicized case about a custody battle that led to child abduction. Like the Rutherford case, the divorcees were separated by lots of land and water, in this case between America and Brazil. The Brazilian woman remarried and then died, and her new husband lied about the death to keep the children. This case became an international affair, with high-ranking officials making laws and official statements, including Congressman Chris Smith and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. Number 1, Jeffrey Sandberg and Gina Summers. This list ends on what I think is the saddest custody case I have ever heard in my life. Gina Summers was said to have traumatized Jeffrey Sandberg during the custody battle with basically being difficult. This all took a turn for the worst possible direction when Gina was found dead with her 5-year-old son, with a suicide note detailing her qualms during the case. What this woman did was awful and shows just how much emotional baggage people carry with them, to the point that they turn to the absolute most desperate and dark side of humanity.